Amy ruined my story, so I had to start it over again. Left last week on Thursday what was going to be race pickpocket and memory and imagination, and watch arson the next day, go to the sale, pick out our horses, hopefully get them. So we had one of the busier weeks of our calendar year on, and that's saying a lot for the stable and a lot for myself and my wife, my family in general. One of the busiest weeks on our calendar year. But what it ended up being was probably one of the best weeks ever for the stable. Just an incredible feeling, top to bottom. And it wasn't that long, it was a year ago that Sintra had done that for us. Which is so, this game it happens so fast, and I guess it does for everybody, whether you win, a championship of any kind in any sport you're doing, or do well at anything. I guess you really have to learn, if you're lucky enough just to take the moment in. It lasts for a long time, and I guess so often you miss the moments. And at the start of the week, I had missed the moment, that moment right there. I got to the sale and I told Dave Reed, I want that poster. And he said, I'll do you one better. I bought one for you. He had a brand new one in the plastic sitting inside his office at Lexington. That is the win from the Bluegrass right there with Pickpocket. A race that meant a lot to me. A race that was really special. And I almost missed it. I did, for the most part, miss it. I raced Pickpocket. Got interviewed, walked out of the winner's circle area, jumped in the van, went back to the paddock, raced Memory and Imagination. He raced good, raced out of his skin, finished 5th, took my suit off and went back to the hotel. I had a bite to eat with Amy and, started pouring over the catalog, just double and triple checking everything. This is where we want to be, this is what we want to see. Watched Arson race. He also raced his eyeballs out. Raced great, finished 5th. Him and Memory and Imagination will be at Corbin over the next week, racing in their prospective eliminations and finals. Got to the sales pavilion, looked at the horses Saturday, looked at them Sunday, knew what we wanted to do, and got it done. We got almost everything we wanted. I mean, you can't have everything. There's 900 some horses there. And when you look at 500 horses and you earmark hundreds and hundreds of them and you price them and you go there, to say you got what you wanted is a little silly. Well, I'll put it to you this way. I got the Captain Treacherous colt that we went there to get. Here's a horse that Daniel Cordino was down here last week. We went to Kentuckiana in the morning. Pulled out some horses, with looking at horses. Chris Ryder was there. It was really cool. Just another thing that I didn't get a chance to do and I missed, right? And I think as the stable pivots and changes and evolves, some of the stuff that we'll do a little bit more of, I guess. So I went to Kentucky and watched people pulling out horses as they're making notes. We're kind of making notes also, and then this giant comes out in the ring. This Captain Treacherous horse. He is huge, but not like oddly big, just a big boy. Kind of like you've never been to a football game. You see them on TV. You've never been to a football game, and then you walk down the field, the guy's like 1,000,000 feet tall. That is how this Captain Treacherous colt looked. Daniel looked at me. We agreed on what we were going to price-wise on the colt. Now the bidding starts. So if any of you have ever been involved in bidding at a sale, you know the feeling. For many of you, I'm not going to say all of you, but for many of you, that feeling when it's a lot of money is so overwhelming, because for me, that $230,000 is is just an enormous amount of money that as your brain is trying to quantify it, it just can't. It can't. It's hard to do. But I know what we were going to do, and we were going to stick to the plan. We were at our boiling point for the horse. They had gone all the way to $225,000, right? As we're watching, I told Daniel the horse would bring $200,000, but I had also told him this might be the first year that you could get a horse like him, because everybody's fascinated with the Tall Dark Stranger, the storylines we talked about, the Tall Dark Strangers. They're fascinated with the Poppy Rob Hammers also. And here's Captain Treacherous, who's already proven. This horse already thrown world champions. The other two haven't thrown a horse, haven't had a harness on one, for the most part. This might be the first year that the market has enough give. You might be able to get a horse like him. So the bidding starts 25, 50, 75, 100, 120, they're going up 25s. Then they get to 175, 185, 195, 200, 210, 215. Starting to slow down. Daniel's looking at me, I'm looking at him. 220. 220. He looks, he says, are you going to bid? It's just a second. 225. 225. Looking for 250. I'm not giving you 250. It's not going to happen. I look at the bid spotter and I held my hand up. I said 230. And he could read my lips plain as day. He picked up the microphone. So they have the mics, they're talking to the announcer, right? $225, $230, $230, $230. Going once, $230. Daniel looks at me and I can see he's excited. And Steve Palermo, who's the salesman, he's excited. And he's not really a pacing guy, so it's a different kind of excitement. It's a $230,000 horse. $230,000. Last call, $230,000. Boom. Hammer goes down. And a million different emotions just flood over you. You're 10 months away from seeing if this horse is any good. It's the most expensive horse you've ever purchased. You know, it's such an enormous amount of money. We're excited. And this is how we kicked off our sale. That was Monday. Mark had already, Ronnie Wren had already won the Keystone Classic with Spitfire Overseas, equaled the track record. We're coming into this week with a win in a Grand Circuit event with Pickpocket. We're coming into the week with a win in a track record equaling fashion. No, sorry, Dave Palone drove him. Track record equaling fashion. The Keystone Classic was before that. Oh no. Keystone Classic was right before we went to Lexington, right? It was the Thursday. Ronnie Wren drove him. Later in the week, he equaled the track record. Nevertheless, we're coming into Lexington with a win in the Keystone Classic with Ronnie Wren. Crushing victory, won by 10 lengths with the earplugs in. He said the horse was bionic. Certainly looked it. I won with Pickpocket. I couldn't be running any higher and any hotter than I am right now. The very first horse we were going to look at, now the first horse in the sale we were going to look at is number 12, but she went too high. I guess I could take a second to look at that. What'd she bring, do you know?
Which one?
Number 12. 210,000. Heaven Hill. That was my first pick in the sale. But she was in a bad spot because my number one trotting filly pick was number 31. So for us to buy number 12, I told everybody she'd have to bring 50 or 60,000. There's no shot she was going to do that. Daniel Plouffe, Jim Class agent for Daniel Plouffe. Nice filly, nice pickup. 210,000 lots. So after that, my first pick in the entire sale, my top pick on the pacing side, a horse I wanted was Captain Incredible. We get him. Daniel high fives me. He's super excited. Sandy is with him. She's excited. Everybody is brimming, just glowing we're like all the same idiots, Hey, we just bought that horse for a super expensive amount of money. Fist pumping and high-fiving. It's a lot of money. But we're excited. Not a lot of time to take it all in, though, because 6 Hips Later is my top pick of the entire sale. If we looked at 500 horses, my number one pick of Lexington 2023 was Grand Slam Dio number 31. That goes without saying, we were going a lot higher than $100,000 on this filly. We were, if we had to. Bidding starts, they get to like 50, 55, 60, 65, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get this filly for sure. Sometimes they take off. They've got a little slow at the start, a little slow at the medium, at the middle, and then boom, they take off. They didn't. 56, or 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. I jump in, we keep going, lands on 100 right on. This is a half, and this most important, this is sister. So this is the family of Cameron Hall. Grand Revival's in the second dam. In the first dam, you have Up Your Dio, one of the best horses in that division right now. Up Your Dio has got 600,000 made and a mark of 51 as a 2-year-old on his update page. This is his sister by Propulsion. First crop sire, but not a first crop sire, really. This horse is, I didn't tell you this. Marcus Melander came up to me. He said, you bought a really, really nice Propulsion filly on day one. I said, honestly, Marcus, she was my number one pick of the whole sale. Now, obviously, his number one pick was Mission Brief's sister because that's who he bought for $800,000. But he said, not a lot of people know this, but the Propulsions are killing it in Europe. He said they are doing very, very well in Europe. And I said, well, I liked the filly herself. I thought she was a tremendous individual. And I just thought that at that price, he goes, honestly, we were obviously waiting for the Mission Brief filly, but I just thought she was a really nice individual also. So he was happy with that one, which is always nice when people come up to you and say, hey, that was a nice horse. Amy had made a note, the underbidder on one of our top trotters. No, she wasn't a top trotter. She wasn't a top trotting filly. The underbidder was Aki. And I know it was Aki, you were right, because his owner came up to me, an Italian gentleman. We spent about half an hour or 40 minutes, went and looked at some horses together and talked. Very, very nice people. Those were the people that were bidding on the filly, and they were the underbidders. So now we're fishing in the right pond, because now we have Marcus Melander telling me he liked 31, and we have Aki Svansted's owner telling me he was the underbidder on Melisandre. We'll get to her in a minute. This sale is going incredible. Spending money, but going incredible. Next horse we got, we had a number of horses now. I'm not going to go through every horse. It's going to be a 12-hour video. The next horse of the day is the last horse. We wait all the way to the end of the sale, and we had bid on, I don't know how many horses we bid on, another 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 horses. And we weren't even close. I don't think we were the underbidders on anything else that day. We get to the last horse in the ring. Now, this is important. So it's so cool because I was talking to the Italian group, and I was talking to a couple other people about placement in the sale, the politics of the sale, how the sales work. You have to understand all the undercurrents of the sale. And it's not to say that I do, but I understand a lot of them. So Kierkegaard K is Aki Svansted's horse. Most people, if Aki wants a horse, he's going to get the horse. That's just it. Same as Marcus Melander, Ron Burke, any of those giant stables. There are horses that they do go to the sale with and just say, I'm going to buy that horse. Ronnie is a little more grounded. His owners, maybe some of them aren't. But, Aki is literally, if you've ever been to Lexington, and I'll pump it again, just for everybody. If you haven't been, you should be. If it's on your bucket list, get to it next year, because it is the most incredible week in the entire calendar in the world for us, is being at Lexington. And for a lot of people, it's just such an interesting thing. There's nothing really that rivals it in horse racing that I've ever seen. I haven't been to the Elite Lop. I haven't been to the Prix de Marique and those races. I haven't been to those things, but Lexington is completely foreign to anything that I've ever seen. It's an incredible time for us, and one of these years we'll probably end up making groups of people to come out. The stable will descend on Lexington one of these years, maybe next year, but you should. So, understanding Kierkegaard K, when you look at a horse, you know Aki is at the sale, you know Sarah, his wife, is at the sale, his owners are at the sale. They're right there across from me, 100 feet away on the other side of the ring. But he is the last horse in the ring. Day one people have already bought their day one horses for the most part, but at the end of the day, there was still a lot of people there. You know, the trotting people are there. Jimmy Tactor and Nancy are down there. Andy Miller and Julie are over there. I know where everyone is sitting, and I'm watching them all. I want to know who I'm bidding against. Bidding starts. I'm Kierkegaard K's brother. 50, 55. Now, another very important point is we just assumed that Aki's Funstead would buy the brother. All the trainers do this, and I do it too. Look for their siblings, horses you like. There's similarities. Do I like this one as much as the last one? Do they look a lot the same? You don't know if they act the same until you get them in harness, but there's things you're looking at. And Aki's Funstead bought him number 124 and 123. So now he's coming into the last horse of day one. There are 4 more days of selling horses. He just bought 2 horses and spent $350,000 doing it. And here comes Kierkegaard K's brother. This is a full brother by Chapter 7. To a horse that made 400, took a mark of 50. And up until 2 days before the sale, where Tactical Approach had won in 150 and 1, Kierkegaard K was the fastest 3-year-old trotter in racing that year. Mark told me that. So there's a good chance he's accurate, or he might have made it up, I don't know, but it seemed accurate. I'm watching Aki like a hawk. Somebody's bidding. It wasn't Andy, I don't think. It's not down there with Nancy and Jimmy. 50, 55, 60. They're already at 5, 65, 70. I had the horse priced at 120. 70, 75, 80, 85, 85. Aki's not bidding. And if he did in that quick 40 to 80, I didn't see it. 80, 85, 85, 90. I looked down. I know the horse. We looked at him. Pulled him out of the stall 3 or 4 times. Gorgeous horse. You know, Chapter 7, dual eligible, Kentucky and New York. The horse looks great. $85, $90, $90, $90, $90, $95. One bid. $95, $95, $95. Boom, the hammer goes down. So we finished up our day with my top pick of the sale, the horse that I thought was an absolute slam dunk in Kierkegaard K's brother, and the pacing colt we wanted. We couldn't be having a better sale, a better week, a better month, a better year than we're having right now. Everything is perfect as we leave day one. We go to the sale grounds for day 2, and I know that my brother Mark is good friends with Aki's owner, Tristan Soderberg, I think his name is. Very nice gentleman. They breed a lot of horses. He comes up to me, he goes, Anthony. I said, yes, sir. He goes, introduce himself, Tristan. I said, oh, my brother Mark knows you very well. He goes, yeah, your brother's a really nice guy. I love what he does. He's a fantastic driver. He said, you bought my horse last night, Memento Mori. The Kierkegaard K brother. He said, yeah. He said, I was the underbidder. He said, I just didn't fathom selling him for that. I really thought he'd bring a lot more than that. And I'm glad you guys got him. He said, I thought maybe Aki would have got him. I said, well, Aki did spend $350,000 in the 8 minutes preceding your horse going in the ring. He goes, yeah, I didn't know that till after. So anyway, good job. I think it was a great purchase, and good luck with it. So that was Kierkegaard K's brother. We start day number 2, and we didn't just jump right in. We didn't just say, hey, I'm going to buy a horse just because. We had a plan. Amy and I and Steve, everybody had a plan, and there's no way we got to 171 from 125 without bidding on a ton of horses. I don't think. we didn't get any horses, and I was fine with it because we had a lot of horses coming up that I was very, very interested in. At this point, I had my favorite horse at day number 2. I had my favorite horse at day number 3. I was very focused on getting those horses, and day 2 was a marathon anyway, so it was fine. Probably had a drink or two. Nachos were good too, weren't they? Probably still digesting steak from the night before, so we're all a little, this is all becoming, we're still sharp and on our toes, right? But it's day 2. By day 5, half of them need a tow truck to get you out of there. 171's in the ring. Westland Warrior. I didn't really pay him much credence. I hadn't got back to Anvil and Lace yet, which was unfair, but I felt bad. They were way at the back of the property. I'd seen so many horses I was interested in, and the Anvil and Lace consignment, there was a couple I liked, but a lot of the times we'll just wait until they come up into the back ring, look at them, make sure they're okay, straight. Are these the horses we want? Those are more the puzzle piece horses. Sometimes you can't see every one. Maybe even though you have specific notes on them, you can't think of that particular horse. You watch the video, you just don't remember it, but you have to trust your notes. Steve turns around and looks at me, and I wasn't looking at 171 at all when he was in the ring. In fact, my notes of 171 were before the sale, off of the catalog, off of the video of the horse. He said, "Did you look at this horse?" I looked down, Father Patrick Cole. I know his sister. I watched her win in 50-4. World record at Northfield Park the year before. Monster. Raced against the best mares in the world all along. But I know the orange ink the orange writing on my page is from before the sale. I said, no, I show him my catalog. I said, nice horse, he's at 30. Nice horse and his video and stuff, but I didn't look at him. He goes, I did. I said, you looked at this horse? He said, yeah. He said, this horse is amazing. He looks amazing. I said, you looked at him with your own 2 eyes. He said, I looked at him 4 hours ago. The horse is amazing. 35, 35, 40. Now, the bid spotters know that we bid on a lot of horses. And again, without explaining, if you haven't been to Kentucky, it's hard for me to explain. You have a big ring that holds 4 horses in the back. You have a walking ring outside that holds maybe 6. In the middle of that walking ring that holds 4 horses is the announcer at the back. The bid spotters are at the back, and they're looking around surveying the crowd. Now that we stand where the horses come in, and they're always looking over there. Although he missed me twice this session. So he sees Steve and I talking about the horse. He's looking at me. 40, 40. I know that Steve likes the horse a lot. And I trust Steve implicitly. He said the horse is put together really well. I already look at the family. I know the family. 42, 42, 42, 42. Bang, hammer goes down. Now, Steve had him marked quite a bit higher. I didn't have a price on him at all because I hadn't looked at him with my own 2 eyes, but Steve did. And Westland Warrior, he was right. We went back right away and looked at him. The horse looked amazing. He was bang on. And a pretty easy purchase, all things being said, for number 171. So now we start off our day with what looks like a pretty good deal on a really nice looking Father Patrick Cole. We're going through the day again. Another 40, 50 hips go by. I'm sure we bid on some, but I'm sticking to my game plan. But we're always looking for those puzzle piece horses. Now I'll make notes. This horse would fit the stable nice for this price. This is what this horse is worth. There's a Walner Colt coming up. Now, the Walners were running high, as they will all throughout the sale, but not all of them. You're going to find gaps, right? And I told everybody there's lulls in the sale, and it's unfair to the sellers, but they happen. So I'm also waiting for that lull to happen. It happens every sale, every year. I see number 235 in the back, Yves St. Kemp. Hunterton horse, I liked him a lot. I'd him priced quite a bit higher than this. But did I want him at that price, at Anthony's price? No, I'm happy just to coast along with what we're doing. Yves St. Kemp goes in the ring. This is a Walner. First foal from a Donato Hanover mare. That mare is a sister to a world champion in Wild Honey. Dream Vacations in the next dam. Very strong pedigree. A good-looking horse. Bidding starts. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to everything as I can at once. 12, 14, 16, 17, 18. What? 19, 20. I look at Steve. He's not paying attention. Look at my wife. She's looking down the catalog. 21, 22. This is nowhere near my number on this horse. 22, 23, 23. Again, 24. The hammer goes down. 24,000. I think you looked at me and asked what that was. And Steve looked at me. He looked down. He looked at me and he goes, "What's wrong with this horse? This is a $24,000 walnut." I showed him my notes. I said, "Nothing is wrong with this horse at all." He said, "Well, there's got to be something wrong with him." I said, "Well, then I missed something, and the chances that are, of course, I could be wrong, but I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong now. I might be wrong in 10 months, but I'm not wrong now." So again, we get up, we go and look at the horse. Horse perfect. 235, just one of those horses, I think, slipped. Thought the horse looked great. We paid $24,000 for a Walner. We had got the Father Patrick for what we all agreed was probably a discounted price earlier. We're on fire. Pretty happy. And then comes the end of the sale where we had as I put it, the dueling the dueling chimpanzees, the mix-up at the end of the sale. For those of you who didn't catch it, Cole's notes, quick notes on the thing. I had bought a horse. I was the underbidder when the hammer dropped. I was certain I was the underbidder, but they brought the ticket over to me. One of the major owners in that particular horse that was in that bucket that wanted that horse had convinced me that, listen, if the horse was worth 170, she's worth 180. I'm going to have to send an email out to our top, our premium bucket people saying that I did overspend a little bit. Are you still interested? Do you want out? Do you want in? All this is going through my head. Guy comes back over with the ticket, says, "Mr. McDonald, we have a problem. We have a contested ticket on this horse." I said, "Hold on, I can help you out here. Do you have a gentleman that's saying he paid $180,000? "Yes." I was certain I was out at $175,000. I was $175,000 bid on the chimpanzee out of the full sister to Plunge Blue Chip. I thought that maybe they got ahead of me for an extra bid, which, if you've ever been to Lexington or any sale, happens. Which bothered me a little bit, but what are you going to do? She's a nice filly, and as Rob put it, he was probably right. She was worth 175. She's likely worth 180. Even though I was stewing a little bit over it. You come over, rectify the ticket. The horse not yours. No problem. 10 minutes later, was it 10 minutes? It seemed like 5 minutes, but it might have been a half an hour. Been on a couple more horses. In the back ring comes this beautiful chimpanzee filly. Now, I told everybody so I'll tell you how I do my market. I mark every horse, some I like. I put a number of lists in there. And then there might have been 15, there wouldn't have been 20 horses. On their page, I wrote, "Buy this horse at this amount." These were horses I wanted. So I turned my page over on my iPad. You know what I mean? 375s in the back ring. Beautiful filly. Chimpanzee. Half brothers already won the matron, made $250,000. The second dam is Rebuff and Non-Stick. Third dam is Rum Boogie. And right in big purple letters on the bottom of the page, it says, "Buy this filly." Walk inside, and we look at her, and we look at her, and we look at her. Mark said, "I think Aki's looking to buy this horse." I said, "It's a nice trotter." Aki's looking to buy every nice trotter. Same as Jimmy or Julie or Andy. Everybody wants them. He said, "But I'm not going to just leave because I believe they might buy the horse." Bidding starts 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It's looking pretty bleak. But I know that I was already the underbidder on the other filly, and truthfully, this filly might have been a smidge smaller and actually a smidge longer than the Plunge Blue Chip filly. The one out of the sister to Plunge Blue Chip. But all things being equal, I like this filly a little bit more. 100, 110, 120. I get in 125, 130. Aki's in 135. Somebody else jumps in 140. Aki jumps 145. Now, everybody has their boiling point. Everybody. And those numbers sometimes are round, right? You might have guys say, I'll go to 150. Mine, you can ask Steve, are a little more jagged. I'll go to 37, 42, 56. But I know some people's numbers are round, so what I'll like to do sometimes also is land on 30. So if I'm going to bid 25, I'll wait to see if somebody else bids 27, then I'll bid 30, because that number, that round number, is sometimes everybody's boiling point. So I wait 140, 145. I bid 150 for Melisandre. I look right across the ring, kind of into the corner of my eye. Aki's a statue. He's not moving. 150. 150. Boom. Hammer goes down. Mark comes over and goes, geez, I know that they wanted the filly. And I said, same thing I just told you. Everybody has their boiling point. And his was clearly 150 for this particular horse. So we ended up with Melisandre. So now I've got my number one filly. I've now got a rival. I've now got the Kentucky bred. So I think it's important, a little side note, to talk about what the breeders did in Kentucky this year, which was super smart. They did the opposite of every jurisdiction. The opposite, so Pennsylvania, Hanover, it's millions of dollars every year for these breeder incentive reward programs, but they're backloaded. So the horse has to make it to the races, race for the money, make the money, and then the breeders get a percentage of that money. Not from you, but extra, an incentive. What the breeders in Kentucky did was, they said, we don't want any money. We want you to give it all to the owners. So the Kentucky program is this. The three that I know of: Love You, Chimpanzee, and Goo Goo Gaga. Those are the three that I know of. I'm sure there's a couple more floating around, but those are the main three. So they said, if you buy a Chimpanzee and you race it next year in the stake races in Kentucky, we will give you an extra 50%. So if you race in the $400,000 final, you are actually racing for $600,000. It's a front-loaded incentive program. You get it, the owner gets it right there. It's right in front of you, it's yours. Because the breeders thought they could pay it off at the sales, and they were right. They don't have to worry about this horse training down and staying healthy and sound and getting a good drive and racing in the the finals. They're going to get their money on sale day. And they did. The day one and day two average of Chimpanzee was $200,000, 190, 200,000. It dropped a bit because there was a couple of ones that didn't look that good that were cheaper. We had bought one for 50. That dropped it. We bought another one for 45. We'll talk about her in a minute. That dropped it. So I think the sale average was probably around $150,000 per Chimpanzee, which is, by the way, exactly what we paid for Melisandre. Later in the session, again, I keep talking about horses I think are bargains. I watched a horse come in the back ring. He looked amazing. Bouncing around, he's huge. Now, we always talk about Wazy and how can we get involved? How can we find value? Single jurisdictions in this day and age, right now, this year, 2023, that is absolutely a way to find it. Something in not Kentucky, that's a way to do it. Southwind Idex comes in the back ring and he looks amazing. I get a few notes written at him. Not really what we're looking for, right? I'm figuring he's going to bring 80 to 100. For a single jurisdiction horse with this pedigree, he probably should bring, I think, 70 or 80. Not really what we're looking for. But now I've already got a bunch of Kentucky dual eligible and Kentucky eligible, single eligible horses. One at the moment. I have my eye on a couple more. One I want really bad. We'll talk about her in a minute. Oh yeah, I see it. I hate when they do that. You okay? Or you gotta pee?
I'm trying to stay awake.
You falling asleep? Really? Oh, you find me boring? Is that what you're saying? Go away. So Southwind Idex is in the back ring. I'll be Peter Pans. Southwind Ibex is in the back ring, and I'm not really paying attention to him. I have my notes written. I know Cadelia is a nice mare. She is. The one thing that I found so odd was they have Cadelia's offspring written in the middle of the page, not in big black bold print. This is Sorella, who's made $1 million, taking America 50. This is in a whole other side of the family that they're not really talking about. So now we have a New Jersey eligible. This Sorella line hidden in the middle of the pedigree. One previous foal is in the ring, and I'm interested now because I can see what potentially could be value here. Maybe not, I don't know. 20, 30, 35, 40. Like, geez, we got a shot. 45, I bid 50. 50,000, 50,000. Last call, 50,000, somebody bids 51. That's my move. I didn't really like it, to be honest. I didn't like it. I bid 52. Somebody bids 53. Guy looks at me and goes, 55. I said, no. 54. He said, no, 50. No. I said, I'm not bidding 55. Even though I might have. 54. 54. Hammer goes down $54,000. Wait until you see this horse. I don't need to talk him up. I don't need to tell you how he's an Adonis. He's huge. He's amazing. He's got a great video. Although I just did. Probably got one of the best videos I might have ever seen. And I'm not a huge video guy, but they are great indicators, and this horse looks amazing. Southwind Ibex, $54,000. Rosetta, again, I figured we would buy this filly. This is the Walner sister to Green Tea. Green Tea is just an unraced 2-year-old on this page. People don't know the story behind Green Tea, but we do, because we had him. Trained him down. One of our best trainers in the entire group this year. Dr. Rucker wanted to send him to Kentucky, have him finished off there and qualified there. They found he had an OCD, took it out, gave him the year off. Okay. I know how fast he was. So Rosetta, and then I looked, she did not have a nice video. Flopping around in her video, but I know the brother. He's a green shoe. I'd be more than happy to have a Walner sister. So that's exactly what we did. We picked her up $27,000. Probably one of the easiest pickups of the entire week. Green Glitter. Now we're getting into our horses, plus we want to have those puzzle pieces. Who's going to fit? Who is going to be the supporting cast? Now keep in mind, some of the supporting cast are pretty good horses this year also. They are every year. Carter Michael Dio and Spitfire were supporting cast the year before. $25,000 horses, right? Pickpocket, although he was 47, was in the middle last year. Just a horse that made sense. If you go back and watch your videos, much the same with him. And I'm not trying to draw a conclusion. This horse and that horse, they're totally different horses. Green Glitter was a green shoe filly that we bought. I liked the family, but I loved her. And I'll tell you the biggest reason I loved her. She reminded me a lot of Insider Trading. Same kind of gait in her video, same kind of head, same kind of eye. Everything was the same. Doesn't mean they are. Just a beautiful filly, and I thought she made a ton of sense. I had her marked at 32. We bought her for 23. Then we had bought a chimpanzee filly for Dr. Rucker in Entrant. She's coming home with us also. And then at the end of that session, we bought Chicago Hall, which these two muscle masses, I just can't get my head around how this happened. How do we get from this horse, Casanova Hall's brother, muscle mass being a strong sire in Ontario, to $47,000 yearling in Lexington? I don't understand it myself. Now that I'd said it, the only other $47,000 yearling we bought was Pickpocket last year. So Chicago Hall, $47,000 is a lot of money, but not when you consider what the other Ontario brands had brought. Both the Hall horses we picked up. Chicago Hall the end of that day, and then at the start of the next day, Gaslight Hall. Those horses were very, very simple to buy. We are going to make an Ontario bucket, just put them in there. That way I can say we're going to spend X amount of dollars in Ontario. Here's a head start. Here's what we put in there already. But the next horse we had bought was one of my favorite horses in the sale. Definitely by far my favorite horse in that session, and her name was Jim Marie. She was a chimpanzee, out of a sister to Crystal Fashion. Obviously we had Wilderwin Hanover in that family also, so you know how strong that family is and how sought after they would be. This is probably one of the most beautiful fillies I'd seen. The chimpanzees, they all had that Chapter 7 kind of smaller bulldog type look to them. Not this filly. She looked a lot bigger, a really, really athletic looking filly, and I really liked her. So Gymboree was a simple pickup for us also. As I said, Gaslight Hall, another puzzle piece in Resolve Indeed. I like this filly. We had a lot of luck with Resolute Bay, and the Resolves did very well on a very small sampling in Ontario before he was exported. But Resolve Indeed, very nice horse. Manhattan Man, again, pretty simple pickup at $21,000. We love the international monies. Everybody, I know you guys do. We certainly do. And just a beautiful colt here. And then one that Amy was not happy with me with. Now, it'll be forever documented that you were a little bit upset about Speed of Sound. This was a filly I liked. She had a ton of European blood, so nobody could really tell if any of the family was good or not unless you looked just looking at the speed and the money. It was hard to discern what she was like. I love this filly. I loved her head. I loved it. You went and looked at her. What'd you think about her when you went and looked at her?
There's a lot of European people there, and nobody.
Yeah, but it's not the same. But just because those European people are there, they're still looking at what they want. And this filly, we had not picked up, nor did we end up getting any other tactical landings. And I thought that this filly was a flyer for sure at the stable, and very happy with what I saw from Speed of Sound. And then we went into the last day. The last day, it's a 41-minute video.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, I know. The last day of the sale was intriguing. Didn't really have anybody on our list. There was a number of Ohio horses that might have fit the bill, but they were going to go high. It seemed like every person from Ohio that I knew was in Lexington the other night. At least all the trainers and all the people are there buying horses. We waited. I bid on a number of horses. One horse I did want, they missed my bid. I didn't get him. He was a Cantab Hall. But there was this filly. I went out to look at a horse that was coming in, and there was this giant, beautiful filly, and she had the sharpest eye I had seen all week. She was a down by the seaside filly. Went to walk in the back range. She kind of just looked at me out of the corner of her eye and kind of looked at me as she walked by. She just looked sharp, right on her toes. I said, Amy, look at that filly. She said, I went to pull this filly out of Diamond Creek. You said not to bother. And I said, why would I do that? And I looked. So I didn't really know a ton of the pedigree. The first dam, though, the mother. First foal out of a mother that took a 2-year-old mark of 151 and made $250,000. Missed that. We watched her walk around the back ring. She looked beautiful. Went in the ring, went back and forth, and I knew a few of the people that were bidding on her. I could see who they were. I wanted her. 21, 22, 23, 25. I bid 27. And we got our horse, a yearling, down by the seaside. Her name is Foxy Seaside. We bought her for $27,000. I had my eye on one horse later on. His name was Vugu. He was a Love You Colt. He ended up going for an extraordinary amount of money, like $50,000, which was way more than I thought he'd bring. But again, when you look at that incentive program, the breeders get paid on that. But there was an interesting horse. There was an interesting horse in the entire mix, and that was a colt, Charlie May's brother. I didn't realize on day 5 Charlie May's brother was in the sale. I didn't know that Diamond Creek had put so many powerful looking Ohio horses in the sale. Pelican Al is a half brother to Charlie May. Now Charlie May's had a number of brothers. I wanted to look at that actually. 10. Charlie May is a McCardle. He's got a brother that's a, what's the other guy? Falco. Racing Hill, and then a number of Arts Chips. And I'm embarrassed to say I don't know who Arts Chip is. Not a mainline, a mainstream sire, I'd say. This is a down by the seaside. This is by far the best bred horse in the entire pedigree page. Then there's lots of pedigree in the second dam also. It's Charlie May's brother. In July, he beat the best horses in the world in 47-1 at the Meadowlands. This horse has got to bring a fortune. We're watching. 30, 40, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 100, 100, 100. And he's looking right at me. 105, 110. They want 110, now they take 105. 2. He said 102. He looks at me, I said, 2. 102, 102, 102. Hammer goes down $102,000. Now, we're in Ohio right now. Driving through Ohio. One of our strongest jurisdictions is Ohio. Charlie May's brother would represent the 20th horse. 20 yearlings we have for Ohio. And we ended up picking up the horse for $102,000. If the shares keep moving the way they are, he'll be sold out by supper time. I mean, I'm going to be stretched after Lexington. I have to figure out what I can do in Lexington. And, I did buy into a couple of the Pacing Filly and Pacing Colt in Ohio. So I can. Charlie May. I'd love to. I really do. But I would like my children to go to school later on in their life, so I think I'll have to forego it. But Charlie May's brother is ours. A beautiful colt. He is an amazing looking individual, and I'm really, really happy that we ended up with him. So we started our sale, started our week with Pickpocket winning the Bluegrass. I watched two victories from the trotting colt. What's his name? 3-year-old Spitfire. 2 victories from Spitfire overseas. I watched him win the Keystone Classic, then I watched him equal the track record with Dave Pallone on Thursday. I finished off my week driving Pickpocket again and being so lucky to win the International Stallion with him. We bought all the horses, all the horses that we wanted in Lexington. That we didn't get all the horses we wanted, but we got the horses that did us the most good. And ended our week buying Charlie May's brother. And through all this, I still had enough time when I won that race, when I won the International Stallion, to stop, walk Pickpocket back, soak it all in, get interviewed, and then, as I said, when that van pulled up to take me back to the paddock, I said, no thanks, I'll walk. I walked all the way down the stretch, shaking hands and talking to people, just soaking up what is rare, and what will always be rare is a Grand Circuit win for me at the Red Mile. Now, hopefully, it's not rare for us. Just a tremendous week, a tremendous sale, a tremendous week at the track, and what is far from hopefully capping off our racing season, but just one of those points in time that you always have to remember. So, that is it. I had did a video of the horses racing. I'll talk some more about those during the racing videos, the 2-year-old videos. But for right now, it's all about the Lexington sale. It's over now. The carnival has left town. We're on our way back home. We'll be back in an hour. Just an amazing sale, an amazing time for the stable. So, with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to talk to you all very soon. It has been a truly tremendous week for us here at the stable.